Thanks for joining us on our very first 702 Gaming podcast. The three of us have known each other for close to 20 years. We've always talked about movies, games, and sports and had fun and interesting conversations. And so we decided, why not start recording it, see where it goes. I got Jason and Josh with me, and my name is Jacob. We've been gaming for a long time, us three. So why don't we just talk about, first off, how you started gaming and what consoles you may have owned through the years. Jason, go ahead and let us know.
How did I start gaming? I think it was a nice escape. Like most kids, I'm the oldest of our crew here. So for me, coming into gaming, it was like it's a whole new world, right? Everything was reading is kind of the only way to really get that expanding on your imagination. When gaming kind of was really coming into its own, and I kind of was there, not that old, in its infancy, at least where we kind of know it to be now. It was a great way of escaping, but doing it kind of visually. If you imagine now the games that we have, how you can get so immersed in it, you almost think you couldn't do that with Tetris, which you couldn't. But you know what I'm saying? Like those type of games where it was like, wow, I'm going from world to world. So that was definitely it was an escape, like most things. And growing up poor, like I'm sure we all did, we grew up getting a game that was probably impossible, and you figured it out. That whole Nintendo hard that everyone says, I'm a part of that. You only got one game a year. You had to figure it out. You weren't getting anything else. So, it basically started with before 8-bit, on to 8, 16, 32, 128 to where we are now. Just kind of started with your basics in television, Atari, ColecoVision, on to Nintendo, and then off from there.
And beyond.
And beyond.
So every gaming generation, have you owned at least one version of each console, like throughout your life, you think?
Yeah, I would say yeah. There's certain ones that I didn't want. I honestly swore Nintendo off after the 64. I know that's like blasphemy for some people, but it just wasn't a good system to me. So
You didn't own the Virtual Boy, did you?
I did.
Do you still have it?
I don't, and I wish I did.
Man.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, there's nothing like staring into red and black for so long that you take it off and you're like, oh man, I think my eyes are ruined. I went through all of the iterations that I could. I know that sounds like it goes against me saying growing up poor, but I was on my own pretty early, so I got to acquire things where I probably wouldn't have been able to. But yeah, every iteration, whether it's one of the Segas, one of the Nintendos, one of the PlayStations, I got something. I did.
What are
skip
you
some
gaming on now?
Xbox. I'm a big PC guy. I definitely am doing a lot of VR now as well. I like to see that kind of coming into its own, especially coming from the Virtual Boy, right?
Yeah.
Seeing where it is now. I do some PlayStation. That's probably my console of choice. I haven't had an Xbox since the original with the Duke controller. Everyone knows, right?
Yeah.
I've got the Switch as well, and I do a lot of arcade gaming. I have a couple arcades that I've built in the game room. So, yeah, can't let that go.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is I know you build cabinets and everything. So how many do you have right now?
Currently have two. I have a two-player, and then I made a four-player as well. And I've got two light guns coming in August. They should be here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, gotta have that Area 51.
Oh, is it for
Oh,
51?
okay.
I was going to say this
Yeah.
like a machine gun type of...
They're like Glock replicas.
Okay.
They will have the force feedback on them, so that you can really feel like you're murdering aliens only, right? So it's okay. Gotta have that. Your Operation Wolf and Alien 3, the gun game, and all that's gonna be great. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. That
Yeah.
sounds awesome. Are both cabinets, do they have the same build inside? They're just a 4-player version and a 2-player version, or is one better than the other?
You know, one is, I guess, better than the other. You know, anyone who's into the arcade scene or grew up in that era like I did, there's something to be said about CRT monitors and LCD, LED, flat screen displays. There's a built-in latency, unfortunately, with flat displays. So I don't have it actually on the flat display that I'm using, but there's definitely a difference. You know, when you're talking fighting games, which I'm big on, you cannot have any kind of input delay. It needs to be exact. So, two player is a 29-inch CRT. That monitor is like 400 pounds. Just the monitor, I'm telling you.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So,
Oh, they're not like.
no, you don't get traps unless you're using a CRT, right? Just lifting that thing up. But the four player, yeah, it's 55-inch LED in there, and it's wide. Yeah, I wanted it to be wide because I grew up with those four player cabs where you're like on top of each other.
Right.
I didn't want, I love my family, right? But we don't want to be on top of each other
Well,
just
you
because
were
we're.
also probably a lot smaller back then.
I was a little bit.
And not as wide as you are now.
Nah, I look just like this, buddy. 12.
Yeah.
I look disgusting as a 12-year-old. Yeah, no, definitely. It's got to be wider in my mind. And since I made it myself from the ground up, I made it how I wanted it, which was
dope.
cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So, out of all of us, I would assume Jason spent the most time in actual arcades. I mean, I did too, but I would assume Jason has done more. What about you, Josh? Were you in there?
I put many a nights out here local. There was everybody heard of the Q Club, right?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, so in that same big shopping center, it's like a huge square. There's all those other bars in there. In the middle, there was like little strip malls, and it was Mary Kay's Arcade. I
Yes,
spent
sir.
probably 3 or 4 years of evenings there that I shouldn't have instead of going to school in the morning. So it was like it was like a nap after school and then go to Mary Kay's all night in Q Club and then just like go to school and then come home and take a nap. Like, so
I like it.
there was, a lot of the arcade games, and but you did see as we were progressing, or my graduation year was 2001. So once that 2000 marker kind of hit, you saw the people start to roll in as well. I mean, they like multiplied in Mary Kay's, and if you go back now, that's basically, even if it's open anymore, it's probably 90% PC time and stuff like that. And that was early. What WoW what's 2000? What would be
Yeah.
WoW?
Yep.
Wow.
It took over everyone's life. That and EverQuest.
Yeah, there was a couple that were on there around that time, and you can just see arcade machine would go down. They were like, they could tell if they wanted to fix it, so they would like not fix it, move it over, add two more desks for PCs, and
it's heartbreaking.
Kept going. It kind of kept going. Unfortunately, yeah.
See, my experience with arcades was a lot simpler before the big chains came out. Mine was like the Dave and Buster's and stuff like that. But before that, mine was more like the cocktail table Pac-Man at Pizza Hut.
Oh, yeah.
And, 7-Eleven going and playing Street Fighter. I guess probably the most arcade time I got in was Crystal Palace, the skating rink.
Skating center.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's state of the art.
All right.
The casinos in town used to have really big, good arcade rooms. So this is like going back to like my middle school time though, and it was my parents would drop me off, and it's just like me and little bro, and they're like, "Here's $40 of quarters," because they went to go gamble, and this is all before like what happened up at State Line where the curfew got enacted because somebody was a jerk. Anyway,
that's what happens. Yeah.
but so like the casinos had some. Oh, well, I mean, I lived in the Boulder Station casino arcade for like 3 years too, prior to Mary Kay's in high school. So I mean, there was a lot of that around here, more than you would think.
Yeah.
I think that was in our town. But I mean, it goes hand in hand, right? Arcade and slot machine.
Yeah, drop the kids off at the arcade while you go play the adult
quarters.
arcade.
Oh my god!
I feel like
everyone's
they
eating
shouldn't.
quarters.
I feel like they shouldn't go hand in hand. I don't want to question any parenting, right? But
I had a good time.
there you go.
They
Right?
never had cocktail waitresses for
X-Men-
the arcade.
X-Men
you gotta
Marvel.
bring
I'm
around
glad they
juice.
didn't have that.
Bring around some juice.
No, man. That what do they call that? Grooming? I don't want them to groom us,
okay,
right,
yeah.
for the casino. That's just bad business,
Shoving quarters in, man.
right?
Yep. You can get a free juice as long as you're playing that Area 51.
I mean, I'll take a juice
was
box.
The
Midway?
Aerosmith game, right? No, the Aerosmith
Oh, Arrow.
game,
Revolution
right?
X.
Gun one.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you were like $5 to get to level 2 on that game.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it wouldn't let me. I'm
Yeah.
like, I know I'm better than this. It was like this ain't right. Something always happens and get DPS checks. It's like no, continue in the
game
same spot
game
all the
was
time.
Horrible. That was
It would
one
not let you
of
progress.
that was one of
Pay
the
to
worst games ever in the existence of the history of the word ever. It was that bad. Yeah, I believe you threw CDs. It was like your special.
Yeah, you had the little button on the side.
It was horrible, man. That was horrible.
And they would blow up.
So bad. It was so bad.
It had like the feedback, right? Like it
It
had
did.
force feedback, like you're talking about.
Yeah,
it
it
was just like probably my first experience with pay to play, because you couldn't
Yeah.
get past without putting more money in that
Yeah.
machine. It was just made that way.
I mean, don't
care
you
how
think?
good you were?
Don't you think that was arcades though? Was
Yeah,
pay to play?
in a way.
I mean, I was probably better than all of you, but I'm just putting it out there.
But if we're talking, you
I
go
don't
to a
doubt
fighting
that.
game, right?
Don't doubt that.
Killer Instinct era fighting games.
Right.
You had Street Fighters, and then like what was that? X-Men,
X-Men versus
Capcom.
Marvel, and
Marvel, Capcom, like all those series, like. But that wasn't. It didn't feel like so. If you lived on those machines, a little different.
yeah,
The
it's
other
way
one
different.
was like an experience, but didn't get me off the.
This guy.
The worst was when you were playing a story-based
Yeah, I know.
arcade game,
I was
and
just gonna
it's
say
got
that.
the time limit,
You're right.
5, 4, and you drop your quarter or
Yep.
something,
Yep, and you're like, well,
and it
that was
starts
that.
you all back over. Yeah,
that was
Oh,
that.
that's the worst. Like
You-
some games, the timer was just way too quick.
The fact that there's a timer.
Right?
Like, if I'm good enough, I should be able to just keep going. But what do I know? Maybe I just need to keep pumping money in there. So
Yeah.
pay to play's always been around.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
2 or 3 lives plus your timer.
Yeah.
Like yep.
Yep. And I don't
Pumping
remember
them
right
quarters,
now,
kid.
but there are a few games where you put in 4 quarters, and as your timer goes down, that life's gone, even though you have the quarters in there. It's like, what is going on right now? What is this? So
That's why you build your own.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, there you go. Build your.
honestly,
Build
that's
your own,
why.
Put it in your garage.
I feel like that one time I was like, nah, I'm gonna make my own. It'll take 30 years, but I'll do it.
So Josh, where did you start out gaming, and what are you gaming on now?
I mean, like I started with Nintendo. I mean, maybe not as extensive as Jason and yourself, like jumping around consoles too much. I didn't. I experienced a lot of different consoles. I would say probably third party, not exactly owning them all. Like, and I think we had a conversation before talking about like PlayStation. When PlayStation come out, that's when like we saw that boom of more consoles available in each house per se. Before you're talking early CD era or even Nintendo 64, there was only like one on my block. So, but yeah, I didn't play the old what's that 8-bit stuff, right? Or the before prior? What's Atari?
Like a bit.
8-bit.
Oh, A-bit.
Half a bit. So
Yeah, it was some. It had to be like 4. Something
yeah,
like
but
that.
Nintendo all the way through it, like big Sony fanboy. At one point, turned Xbox. Always loved the consoles until a year ago. Until a year ago, there it is. It went to the PC dark side.
There you go.
Couldn't help it. Master Race.
There you
meta.
go.
I don't know what you want, whatever you want to say. It is the. I think it is. It's always been the end game for gaming. Consoles are great, right? The availability, put it in your house and do all that. But
Right.
if you can, I don't know, bite the expense of, I mean, where it is, what, a console and a half right now, you can build something for the future.
Yeah.
And
Instead
so
of
you built your own rig?
Yeah. So instead of doing that, keep buying the next console, I was like, all right, see what this does. But I love it. I won't go back, and I think more things are becoming even more readily available from console games to PC, right? It was always like the opposite port. Jason probably can talk about this more, but it was like the opposite port. It was PC time to get the console stuff, but in reality, it's like there is a ton on console.
Right.
That like never got the PC love.
Yep.
Couldn't do like the frame rates and all that stuff, but it's coming around.
Yep.
See, new games are just you can play it on anything though. So
Yeah, you are
hate,
starting to
no love or
see
hate.
you're starting to see more cross-play and games
Yeah.
that are on PlayStation. Just today, I saw Horizon Zero Dawn is on sale on Steam for $30,
Yep.
and I didn't realize that they have PlayStation games on Steam. I mean, I know that they have Xbox games on Steam and on the Xbox store, so it's kind of cool to be able to jump in with each other when you're on PC and I'm on console, or
Yeah.
vice versa, right?
Man, that should have happened so long ago.
Right.
Like, I mean, I get it. Everyone has a company, right? If all three of us have our own separate company, we want to beat each other. But the friendlier they are with each other, the better the ecosystem is. It doesn't have to be what, Nintendo versus Sega. That was seriously like gang wars back in the day, right? So it doesn't
Right.
have to be that. You can still have your own company and make the money that you need, especially with everything going digital now. The cost of creating a game is still there, but the cost of manufacturing and having to get that hard copy out to people, that's going away. And I would say, unfortunately, as a collector, but since that's going away, we can be friendlier with each other.
Yeah.
The fact that I
Couldn't agree
can
more.
play Gears with Josh if I want, like, that's cool. Instead of before, when I honestly, it was around the time I first met Josh, he had already beat Gears like 90 times, right? And I'm like, yeah, I think I just got that game on PC. It just came out. He's like, yeah, I think I remember that game. It's like, why? Come on. What are we doing right now? All right, what are we doing right now? So, yeah, we got to be able to play together, I think.
Yeah.
I think that ties into the overall like co-op community and healthiness of co-op, and that's I love doing that, and that's where I'm at with like Destiny and a lot of these other games. If that's my thing, and I think that's a growing overall way to game is co-op and open world, and do other things like that. It's like the more players you can put together. What's Battlefield, right? Not to put too much into the new trailers and stuff coming out, but that's what 128.
Yeah, I think it's
That's a
128.
lot of people.
And from the PC world, we've been doing that forever.
And how do you get that many people without having or crossplay? Like
Right.
those lobbies are way too big and
Yeah.
doing too much. Even like Call of Duty now. So, yeah, I don't see how it hurts because you can still have your single player titles in there, but the co-op ability gets more people to play, I think, than the single player like community themselves. Now there's going to be two. There's going to be one person that just does co-op, one person that just does it single player, and then the person that does both. I mean, you're still getting what 66.6% or whatever of the revenue if you can have that with crossplay alone.
Well,
You get everybody that likes single player and co-op at the same time, vice versa, and it's just it's still, I think it's making more money either way.
it is, but there's a problem with that as well. Like, I'm sure everyone remembers a couple years ago where they're like, single player's dead, right? And you know what really sucked about that? They were giving you half-assed multiplayer titles because they just wanted the revenue, right? Because we can give you this multiplayer title and then we can have you for the next 18 years buy upgrades so that you can pay to win, right? Like, oh, you want that new fancy suit? Yeah, that's only $5. But if you want that gun, you can grind 100 hours to get it, or you can just buy. Like, that is non-existent in single player. So
Right.
the revenue is there for multiplayer titles over single player titles. But, as a PlayStation guy, there's nothing like that last God of War game to me. Like, there's no multiplayer game that can weave that type of a story, to bring you from beginning to end of a character that you've kind of grown to love over, what, 4 titles. You can't do that in multiplayer. So I understand the revenue stream, and again, that's what companies want. They want money, not just
yeah.
once. They want it over time.
Business.
All right, business is business. That's why they want to shut down places like GameStop, besides GameStop being what it is. But, hey, I bought this game for $60. It's single player. GameStop, what can I get for it? $5. I know it came out yesterday. And you're like, oh, okay, all right. But then they can turn it around and then sell it for $50 as used. So of course, game studios and console makers hate that. That's something that happens with single player more than multiplayer. Like, and again, I don't know if you guys remember, with multiplayer back in the day, you had to have the code to put in, and you could use it one time.
Yeah. Well, especially on PC.
Oh yeah,
The
PC
key,
was crazy.
right?
Yeah.
PC, like they make sure
Yep.
everyone buys their copy.
Yep.
I'd like that to come back. Just for we're talking about competitive gaming and stuff, because there's sometimes okay, the argument is, without going too far off base, is the free to play ruins a lot of competitive modes in other games, and it really does. Like Warzone and the hacking, and I mean, it's in all other free to play games like that, not just BRs, but
Yeah, I agree.
continue.
Free to play is its own monster, right? Like, so many free to play titles make an obscene amount of money, and I know this. We can all three attest to this. When you see the game, you're like, "What's this? Like, what is this? This looks like a mobile game. Why am I putting any time into this?" And the thought is, yeah, you're only putting time. You're not putting money, but you will be. Like that ruins gaming, I think, in general. But again, I love single player titles. I love to see, if this is your story, Jake, like, is it a good story? Is it something that's going to captivate me? Because if it does, after you've released Devil May Cry, I'm going to buy part 2.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And then after you release part 2, and it's actually way too hard, anyone who's played it knows what I'm talking about. You're going to buy part 3. You're like, this is what I'm talking about. I love this character. Like, what
You're
are the
absolutely
characters?
right. I mean, or you'll rebuy them on a remake.
Remakes.
Hey, so
Yeah.
I'm typically against a remake because some of them just I've played the game again. I can't even tell the difference. Why did they re-release this, right?
Right.
But a game like BioShock was such a good series.
Those are your games, man. Look at his
So I
face.
just recently, man,
He's like, ooh.
it was like I had forgotten how good they were,
Right.
and I just happened to see all 3. The first 2 I think were redone, touched up, and then part 3 I think was how it was, and all 3 for $10 on Xbox on sale. So I was like, you know what? I remember I
nice.
loved them. Man, I couldn't put them down. I beat all 3, did everything you could do in them, and just had the
Nice.
best time. I love those games. And I heard they're developing part 4. So
I did read that, and if you can't tell, for the people that are just tuning in, this is the completionist of the crew, would be Jake. I want to beat the game. I don't necessarily need like a 200% though. I don't necessarily need it.
now I'll
but-
only do that now if I really love the game. I used to do that just to do that back in the day, but yeah, that's how you remember all that. But that's how you get your gamer score up.
PlayStation guys, like we have
Yeah, you
trophies, but not the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
Not the same thing.
There was
Same
a
thing
good
with
year
computer.
where I just was achievement hunting, and I just got to get that gamer score up. And I hit 100,000, and I just backed off. And so I haven't been going for that for years now. But I'm at like 150,000, I think.
This guy had to
Or
back
something,
off.
something like that. Yeah, I had
You had
to.
to
I had
back
to slow
off.
it down. I was scaring people.
I haven't had to back off anything from gaming. That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, I had to stop.
I think that's an Xbox guy thing, because I know a lot of
Yeah.
people, they covet that score.
I think so too. And I think if I had kept focusing on it, I would have a huge score right now. Right now, I think it's good. It's not great. It's good.
This guy's so modest.
Yeah, it's okay.
I like it. I like the modesty. There's people that are right now like, oh my God, dude, he's got what?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't personally know because I don't have the score, but
I'm interested to go look mine up, because I don't know. I've more latch on to like 1 or 2 titles.
Yeah. If you're
and
playing the
that,
one
but-
title over and over, you've already gotten the achievements. You don't typically keep unlocking things.
Yeah, you're an animal.
Yeah.
You just
pretty sure he's an animal.
wait.
Pretty sure. I will say, I wonder if
He's
we
like,
had.
I got 20 minutes.
All right, and this is all I'm gonna do. This is all
Yeah,
I'm gonna do.
I got time to make a 100 gamer
I
score.
got 20 minutes of grind in me. Like, I don't have that. I do wonder, like, for the old retro titles, if they had achievements back then, because most people, you just couldn't afford anything. So you got Mario like at Christmas when you got the system, and that's what you had,
Yeah.
right? So you just played it over and over and over, and you tell your parents like, "Hey, there's this new game out," and they're like, "I gotta buy a new console. I'm not doing that." You're like, "No, it's a game, right? It's a new
just the
thing."
game.
Yeah, and they're like, "Well, what does it do?" And you're like, "I don't know. I'm 8, dude. I can't like explain anything to you, right?
Yeah.
Can't explain anything to
Cover
you."
art looked amazing.
Oh,
I don't
man.
know what it does, and then you
Cover
put the
art.
game in, and whew,
Yeah, remember the cover
First
art?
time playing Duck Hunt.
they had some
about
good
that?
cover art.
Dude, I thought
The first
Duck
time he
Hunt,
picked up Duck Hunt.
it was amazing, right? It was like I almost felt like I was doing something wrong. It's like, dude, I'm
Yeah.
shooting stuff, right? Especially where I grew up. And I was like, whoa. Like, let's
I didn't
close the
even play-
windows, right?
First time I played Duck Hunt, it wasn't even in Vegas. It was in Chicago in a basement.
Nice.
Family and friend. Like, I
Nice.
was like, what? I was like, you shoot the TV. And
Right. And you're like,
stuff
nothing's going to
happens.
happen, right? Like,
I was down there just like,
you're right.
his mom comes down. It's like 8 hours later. I'm like,
She's like, son, the TV's off. What are you even doing right now?
yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I remember just back with the Zapper, I played Duck Hunt and I thought it was amazing. There's a game called Hogan's Alley. You got to shoot bad guys, like the little
Yep,
things
I
would come
remember
like
that
this,
one.
right? And they'd flip
Yeah.
over, and there's a gangster, and then there's a lady like with a purse, you know, and then there's something to really make you feel bad. There's like a priest, and you're like, I shouldn't have done that, you know, whoops. But I remember playing that game and just thinking it was the coolest thing in the world because I shot a bad guy, and then I felt bad if I would shoot like, you know, the lady or something like that, which is good, by the way.
Yeah, you're not a
But-
total psycho.
Yeah, not total. Wait till Mortal Kombat comes into this conversation. But it was an amazing experience to just be like, dude, I almost feel like a cop, and that bad
Yeah.
guy was doing something wrong, and I'm making up the story in my head, and that's what I'm saying when I'm talking about it being an escape, kind of expounding on your imagination. I'm making up reasons why these people are even there. You know, I mean, I didn't do like Dungeons and Dragons as a kid, but that was my version of that.
Yeah.
I did. That was dark. And then the next, and then the next evolution of what? What was the Super Nintendo one called? The Super Scope.
Super Scope 6.
Yes, I got the Super
Yeah.
Scope. Yeah.
It was the worst handgun ever
Yeah.
because it took batteries also. You're just like, as a
Giant
6-year-old, you're
bazooka.
like, oh, dude, bazookas are heavy. I think it was only like 3 games maybe that even used it.
Yeah.
But man, I thought it was awesome looking. It wasn't
Yeah.
very good, practically speaking.
Did you guys have? Was it the power pad? I think
Oh,
that you
yeah.
laid down and it
glove.
had the buttons.
Oh, the glove or
You-
the
no,
The pad, the power
for the
pad.
track and field games.
You better get ready for the most challenging Nintendo system ever.
Ready? Let's do it.
The new Power Pad. It's only available in Nintendo's new Power Set. Now you're playing with body power. You've got to run, jump, faster, higher. The Nintendo Power Pad puts you in total control. You are the game. You are the power. Now you're playing with power, body power. You get the Power Pad, Control Deck, Zapper, and 3 games only in Nintendo's exciting
Yes.
new Power
Yes.
Set.
Yes, sir.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, again, I didn't have it. It was like another cousin that had money or whatever, and so he had one. And then, and then everybody's using it and trying to destroy it.
Yeah, you'd be sweating,
Pretty much so.
trying
It
to do the
was-
hurdles.
Yeah, remember the hurt. So
Yeah.
anyone who's played this, which I hope it's everyone that's listening, there was the right way to do it, which was stomping like a maniac, getting chin splints, trying to beat the guy named Cheetah, who was like impossible to beat. Or there was the way of kneeling down on it and using your hands like a maniac, like it was your feet.
There
You
you
got
go.
so good at
That's
it
a good idea.
that you're doing the hurdles like this.
Yeah, because it was basically a mat you would lay out with the cord that's plugged in,
Yeah.
just like a controller, right? And it's
Yep.
an A and a B button
So it
that
had,
you would step on, right?
it almost looked like a twister pad. It had like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
1
squares.
through 9 or something like
Yeah.
that. And as a kid, it seemed like that pad was huge.
It
As an
did.
adult, it's like, wow, like 3 of us were on there. Like, what are we doing, man?
I would,
I was remember it being
I would
huge.
love to see you play it right now.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
We might
I mean, I
have
will.
to get a video of that.
Maybe over there with his hands.
I'm not above it. Okay.
Yeah, I
I'm not
know.
above it. I will say,
It's-
as a past track athlete, that helped. That helped. That's how I got there.
I'll
That
play
got you into
DDR,
college?
but I'll play
Did, man.
Nintendo
I would,
Jumpad.
I'm on there like this, going stick. Like it was awesome, man. Good times. Good times.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up, so like I got into gaming on the Atari. I don't know how I got it. I was too young to even remember how we had it, but we had it. And I had the model, I don't remember what model it was, but it's the one that had the faux wood.
7800.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it had the metal bars that you'd pull down
Yep.
to
Little
pick your
toggles.
game.
Little
Yeah, and then
toggly
you
guys.
pick your game for,
Yeah.
or pick the color.
Yep.
You know, are you doing tanks today? Or are you doing planes versus each other, right?
Oh, those games are amazing.
I know. And the joystick that crinkles makes the
Oh.
sounds as you as you try and use it and not break it.
Probably the worst controller ever. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
To start somewhere.
It's got
Had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a
Yes.
PlayStation controller though.
Yeah, there is the PlayStation.
That's weird. It was almost like directed at me. It's weird how you did that.
PlayStation controller.
Well, I mean, if
I
you want
actually
to,
really want to try out the PS5 controller. I haven't gotten to try it out.
it
yet.
doesn't want to let
good.
you. It doesn't want to let
Okay.
you. Yeah. I don't.
It's
because
upset.
of comments like that.
don't do it.
It's nonsense. Honestly, I mean, I haven't used it yet myself because I don't have a desire to get the system. Not now, anyway. It looks a little weird. And again, this is without me even messing with it. But my personal opinion, I think for the newer generation, I think the PS4 controller is great. Absolutely great. I know you Xbox guys like that weird, like diagonal, analog sticks. I'm not into that myself. I think the placement of the two analogs are perfectly spaced and great controller. Great controller.
Yeah, I know people usually lean one way or another, and it's good that there's options.
Yeah, I'm glad you leaned right into the Atari though, because we all need to start there. It's great.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite games that you can remember on Atari?
On the Atari,
Yeah.
ooh.
There's some really bad ones. which I'm
Pitfall
sure
was
you
on the
own.
Atari, right?
Yeah, it was on there
Pitfall?
also.
Yeah, so I did play Pitfall quite a bit. We didn't have a lot of money, so the tanks and the jets and stuff, that was built in, I believe. It wasn't actually a cartridge.
I want to say yes. I want to say yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you just left the cartridge out and would turn it on, and that game would automatically start up, and then use the toggles to.
There
what you're
was
playing.
there were a few older systems that did that. I'm probably wrong about this, but I believe even the Sega Master System, if you didn't put a cartridge in, just turned it on, there was some weird game that you could play.
Yeah, was it like a tiki? You're like a tiki man. Or
Yeah,
something?
it's something like that, and it's not graphically amazing or anything because it's
Right.
free. But I mean, could you even imagine right now buying your expensive Xbox and be like, yeah, I can only afford the system,
Yeah.
but it's got a built-in
Yeah.
game. Right?
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't
All I
think
have
so.
is the one game. All I have is Halo.
Oh,
No, I couldn't imagine that.
yeah, I couldn't imagine that. Them being so nice as to give you something for free.
Yes.
Yeah, not so much anymore.
Yeah, but
it-
I went on to go to Nintendo, Sega. I jumped over to Sega when the Genesis came out, and I stuck with them till they went out. And then I hopped over to PlayStation. I was basically going, in my mind, to who was the best at the time. And so, Sega was doing that advertising of we're better than Nintendo. And so I didn't want the Super Nintendo. My friends all had it. I got to play it a lot, but I thought I had to get that Sega.
Really?
It's wild, man.
We
Yeah.
went. We went super. We went super. We got
Doing
the-
Super.
Hey,
Yeah,
Josh,
actually, that's one we got first for
Good man.
Christmas, and
Good man
Super
right
Punch
there.
Out, and that next iteration of Mario when you got Yoshi and everything. So that was pretty.
so
pinnacle right there.
then, Josh, you've never played Super Mario World?
Wait, what are you talking
I'm
about?
sorry, not Josh. Jake, you never played Super Mario
Oh,
World?
Super Mario. No, I've played them all, just not. I didn't own them.
So, okay, then I would assume you've never beat it. How's that?
No,
Wow.
That
no, I
sounds
don't
like
think I've
well,
ever
that's like
played that one.
You have to
Wow.
put that on his plate and get that emulator
We-
rolling.
Yeah, right?
Well, we do have the Switch, and we've been playing. Me and my
Oh, I
wife
think
and
you
stuff.
can
Been
play
playing like Mario 3, and going back to titles like that and
You
playing it
ever
on
beat
there. It's pretty
Mario
good.
3?
That one I have. Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. I always ask that
No.
because there are certain like requirements for gamerhood.
Yeah, to get through.
Yeah, man. Yeah, like
Yeah,
and
no,
Mario
that
was
one.
hard.
I want to say it was at my cousin's house or a friend's house, and we were just playing that all
I
weekend.
totally skipped it to beat it.
I'm sorry. Anyway,
Yep.
yeah. No, you know what? When I edit this,
Not
I'm gonna
ashamed.
pull him right out.
Not
So,
ashamed. Played every level, and then just played it through and skipped it. And got it
Oh
done.
my gosh.
You got it. Sometimes you don't have to get everything in the game and then go fight the boss, and then you slash him once and he's dead. That's not really fun.
I don't know. It sounds like a guy who's used to pay to win to me.
No.
Just saying.
I earned my cheat
He needs
codes.
more quarters.
Yeah, exactly. You have more
Either of you,
quarters.
speaking of cheating, did either of you have Game Shark or Game Genie back in the day?
I didn't have it, but I have one now in a. I made a nice shadow box where I have. I made it myself. It's got. I put break in case of emergency on there. I've got two zappers in there like this, and I've got a Game Genie in there halfway out of the box. But I didn't
love
have
it.
one as a kid though. No.
No. See, somebody else had it, and I don't remember using it for. I don't know, like. I mean, you didn't really like play online or anything other than that, but definitely like bugging the game and doing in-game, player versus PVE stuff. That was definitely Game Genie first experience with that.
Oh,
like
man.
hacking the game, was like, oh yeah, what's that? Oh.
I never had one, but I know people that did, and I would see them input things, and it's like it looks like you're breaking it. Right? Like a lot of times you put different types of codes in, and then you'd see, actual code that's written into the game scrolling across the top of the screen, and I'm like, dude, you just broke your Nintendo. Your mom's gonna beat you. So yeah, I never had one, but I could see with our generation of games why it was something you want. Anyone who ever sat down and beat like Metroid without a guide, it's like, yeah, if there was any kind of Game Genie code to help you, because I distinctly remember taking pieces of paper and making my own like maps to stuff like for Zelda and things like that. Because you know what I'm saying? You turn it off and you think that code's gonna get you right back where you were, and it puts you in the general vicinity. You're like, no, I don't want the vicinity. I don't remember where I was. I played this for like 4 hours and I need to go to bed. So I need to know where I was when I start this again. So, but yeah, I see the allure of Game Genie, and Game Shark was for the CD-based systems, right? I think.
Was it?
I thought it was a cartridge.
I thought Game Shark was for CD-based systems. I know that they had something
it
for
came
CD
out-
systems where you would
I
put
think it
that
was
disc in
Sega
first.
era.
And put whatever you wanted in. I could be wrong, could be reversed, but you put that disc in first, put whatever code you want in, open it, remove that disc, put the game disc in, close it back. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I remember on that Zelda that didn't have the save on Nintendo, right? You couldn't save.
So on 1 and 2 you could save, but again, it wasn't what you think. Like in part 2, which is actually the only Zelda that I've beaten in my life, it took me a summer. All right, when you start over, you start right there beside the little princess who's asleep, and you gotta trek all the way back to wherever you were, and you're gonna die along the way, especially if you're far enough in the game. Like, yeah, it was brutal, man. That stuff was brutal.
Yeah, I think that's the appeal of what are the games that are out now? Can't think of them off the top of my head that are just brutally hard.
The Dark Souls games.
Yeah, the Dark Souls, the
Unforgiving.
Born, and all that. Yeah, I think some people just really enjoy the punishment,
I don't.
like those old games.
I don't enjoy that.
There's a lot of people that do. I don't either, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of people that do.
I'm not into that just because, again, I come from I'm a little older, so like the old PC games that were just, it felt like it was built to punish you.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand the allure of that, Not that, I played PC games when I was around 14, 15. I couldn't understand who sat down and was like, this is how I want to spend my night. And like Zork is a great example, which I'll just text. And, you walk left, can't walk left. Walk right. walks right, walk right again, you're dead. Like, what is that? Like, I don't need that, dude.
Yeah.
So, and then you start it all over again, and you got to remember to only walk right once. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't need that.
I think especially now at this point in my life, I'm not looking to sit there and be punished. I want to hop on, have fun. If it's a single player, I want a great experience, great visuals, great story.
Right.
But I don't want
You
to
want-
sit there and
you
replay the
want
same level.
You want checkpoints?
Yeah, I want checkpoints, all the saves I can do.
Amen.
I don't even want the checkpoints or the saves like I was just playing The Evil Within, and you have to go to like a sign in or a
Yeah.
keyboard type thing, you know, like a Resident Evil type
Like Resident
thing.
Evil type, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even want that. I want to be able to just pause it, save it. One of my favorite features on the Xbox Series X and S is that quick resume. And it works on most games, and I love that I can just go to the dashboard in the middle of a game, and it's not that I saved the game, it's just got the game held in its RAM, and so I can just hop right back in a week from now, and it's exactly where I left it. I love it.
That's pretty cool. I didn't
Yeah.
know that it had that. I mean, I'm such a great gamer, I wouldn't need it, but, you know. At least that's what
Well,
they
I
tell
know.
me. That's what they tell me.
You wouldn't like Valheim or Outward then too much. Those type of games are very unforgiving. Like you go on treks out into the world and then you die.
Yeah.
And you get, you know, you're not dead forever, but it spawns you back at like your last save point or where you last took your sleep at the bed, right? Which could be on the other side of the map where all your stuff is. So you're basically then naked and have to get all the way back across this world
No.
to just get back your armor, your weapons, and whatnot. So
Have you
that's-
been playing that a lot, Valheim?
Valheim? Yeah, that's not so much lately. I mean, it's a blast to build. I mean, it's like it's a survival like Minecraft type, but it's in like Viking era. So, but it's super unforgiving in that manner where, like, if you get killed by anything, all your stuff drops. You go back to last save spawn point, and
Nah.
you're naked. So,
I don't mind the naked part. I just thought I would say that.
I'm sure
That has nothing to do with video games.
you're climbing up the slopes of Valheim, freezing your balls off.
Yeah, I don't need that. Well, like I don't think that like I'm not a fan of like permadeath in games. I guess I understand it, but I just don't care enough to be punished like that. You know, that's why I mean, I'm a big fighting game guy, and you know, if you're good, then you win. If you're not, then you don't. Right? But anyone who's played a cheap fighting game, and there's a lot of them where you get to that last boss and you're like, okay, what is this? Right? I'm not a fan of that stuff. And I think with permadeath type of games or games that punish you like that, like what's the incentive? If there's no incentive for me to play it other than telling someone else that I was able to beat it when I know that it's almost impossible, you know, I'm not into
Yeah, I
that type
think
of stuff.
a lot of it is bragging rights
That's its
that
own
you put in the
category, for sure.
time and you dealt with it and beat it. Yeah. I think that has a lot to do with it.
Well, I think that's where trophies and things like that come in. You know, I have a crew that I play a lot of my PlayStation games with, and you know, I might stalk their profile. Right? Let me see what they're doing. Oh man, he's got platinum. Oh, he's got a few of them. It's like, oh, that is cool. I don't have them, but I beat all these same games, so I'm like, I'm good. You know, I come from an era where you don't necessarily have that, and not saying that this equates or anything, but from the era of show and prove. So if I said I can do it, I'll show you that I can do it. Whereas now you have the trophies that, you know, give strangers the wow, this guy is awesome because he's got all of these type of things. So I've never been into that. You know, even though
and
Steam
you
has
still
them.
got to experience like all of the God of War experience without getting all the trophies. Like a lot of times the trophies and the achievements on Xbox don't necessarily bring you any additional experience
Yeah.
to the game.
I was going to get
So it's
to
like,
that.
yeah. So your friend might have all the points, but he
Right.
played the same game you played. He might have just played it a little longer or had to take more time. And sometimes I feel like it ruins your experience on the game because instead of enjoying the view and enjoying the gameplay, you're running around looking for gamer tag or, you know, cog tags on the ground.
I was just going to say that the cogs from Gears of War,
Yeah.
When I
I
first
hate
started
it.
playing it, I was like, well, yeah, I know I can go through there and that's where that level boss is. But before I do that, let
Yes.
me like crawl around for like an hour and see if I can find.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy
You're
that
looking
stuff.
at these back hallways and places that aren't that interesting to
Right.
go find these collectibles.
Hmm.
I'm against collectibles usually overall.
Mm.
However, I did just 100% Maneater
The
on
shark game.
Xbox Game Pass. The shark game.
Okay. Okay.
Sharks. Yeah.
I want to play that. Just my field of study is marine biology, so I want to play that just based off of that. Um, but the initial trailer for it, like, what is this?
Oh, I
What
thought
is
the
this?
same thing.
And it's nothing like that. It's actually a good experience.
It is something like that.
I'm gonna say, I like.
Nice,
What are
thanks
you
for not
expecting
lying.
out of this? Like,
I don't know, right? I don't know what. what I
You're a
expect.
shark. You eat stuff, man. Like,
I don't know. I
you're
mean,
not looking for like gold medal game. Of
hold
the year
on though.
here,
Hold
like-
on though. There is a game, and I know, Jake. I know you know Seaman.
Yes.
So there is another aquatic game where I didn't know what to expect. I didn't necessarily like what I got, but
Oh, one of the most amazing game experiences you could ever have.
I
If
don't
you
know
haven't played
about that.
Seaman on Dreamcast, maybe go out and find a retro console to buy it. I don't
Yeah.
know. People should really get out there and experience Seaman.
I mean, yeah, you should experience it just
like
kind
to
of
see it.
based on
It'll change your life.
it'll change your life.
So tell me,
Yes?
do you own a computer?
Yes, I do.
So you own a computer, right?
Yeah, man, I sure do.
You have a computer, and yet you'd rather sit here and talk to me.
Well,
Well, that's touching.
that's mad rude.
No, really it is.
Oh, okay. It'll make you look at tadpoles differently.
Oh yeah, yes.
They'll definitely do that. And for those who don't know, Spock is the narrator of that one, which is cool.
People have
especially
no idea what you guys are talking about right now. Just so we're clear.
there's so many people that know about semen.
Oh my god.
You all right? That's what it's
Leonard
called.
Nimoy voice said Seaman.
Not Leonard Nimoy. I didn't say that.
No, not Leonard Nimoy's Seaman. Just he was a voice actor for this game.
Yeah, I didn't
Just
play
so we've
that one.
put that
or-
cleared up in the notes. Okay.
Well, that unfortunately is one that you. I mean, you could emulate it, but not really, because you needed, the I think it was called a VMU that the Dreamcast used. So I think you need that, and there's a little microphone that comes out of it too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's like that's normally where you would put your memory card, right? In the
Yeah.
controller. I
Yep.
think it was the memory card, and I think that had the microphone, but probably also stored the data for your Seaman.
So the Seaman had it fed off of the memory in the VMU, but it also utilized the date and time that your system stored because of the battery. So it needed to know certain things, times of the day, and things like that. That's why it would die if you left it alone for too long.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very innovative game. It was very innovative.
It was.
But
Yeah,
that's
I
weird.
remembering my birthday and hopping on one day, and it just right when I went on there to feed him, he said, "Hey, happy birthday."
Now, was Dreamcast the first to put like speaker in controller? Then doing that, or
Yeah,
that's pretty early on for that, right?
it is. They were the first. They were the
Not
first.
anybody does that anymore. That's more of a niche thing. Does the PlayStation remote still have a speaker in it?
Yeah, it's
right
got
now?
a speaker. Well, I don't know about the 5, but 4.
Four
has
does.
It.
Yes,
The four
5 does
right?
have a
The
speaker.
four-
I saw
It does have one in.
So they
It
both
does, yeah.
they stepped with it. I know Microsoft, the Xbox One does. They do not care.
Yeah, they've never done it.
Well, it has a speaker, but this actually had a mic, and that was
Yeah, it was a microphone
yeah.
I think
coming
that-
out of
yeah.
your controller. Yeah,
Such
it was
a weird
interesting,
game.
and you could talk
So
to him
weird.
and feed him and raise him as your own.
Yep. Sometimes he would take finfuls of poop and throw it at you, in case you're into that. Right on your screen. Wow.
Yep.
So yeah, take
he was
that with
angry.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
It was
had a bad
basically an
attitude.
egg that would drop into a tank, and you're just looking at the tank, and you have to figure out how to take care of this thing as
Mm-hmm.
it hatches and becomes a tadpole. And as it's growing legs and a body, it's also growing a human face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not Not my kind of game.
You're not into that, are you?
No, I'm out.
You know what? This sounds like a guy who never had sea monkeys. That's all that I'm getting out of this. It was like virtual sea monkeys, except it was like really something.
Yeah.
The first time and only time I did sea monkeys, I put them in there and I was like, yeah, nothing's gonna work. And then they were working.
Yeah.
And then they worked way too well. And then there was too many. And in a tiny little, like
It's only like that big. Right?
You'd have been great at Seaman then.
Oh yeah. Dude, from what I hear, he is great at seaman.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Word on the street.
Word on the street.
all right.
You all right? Yeah, that was definitely an innovative game for sure, and that is something too that I, again as the retro guy, the innovative nature of games kind of coming out of their infancy, like you don't see that anymore. Like if we're being honest, there is a graphical jump between, Xbox 360 and the X. There is a jump, but it's nothing where it's mind blowing. Okay,
Right.
like when we're talking resolutions, they are kind of what they are, right? You can have more pixels; it doesn't necessarily mean it looks better, right?
Yeah.
So when we're talking,
And I do discuss that on one of our future casts. Is just what games have taken us to that mind blowing place, and so we'll have to think about that. But I can think of some off the top of my head, but we'll have to talk about that
I'm in
for
I'm
sure.
in.
Well, I think our time's up. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think we've done pretty good for today.
Yeah. So if you're watching this on video, the contact details will be below. If this is audio for you, you can contact us at 702gaming@gmail.com. Shoot us comments, questions. If you want us to talk about something specific, we'd like to hear from you.